How can businesses ensure this effective communication in multi-dialect or multilingual environment? Because what? You just go to a language school and maybe you do, maybe you do not acquire linguistical competencies, and maybe you will be able to use them in communication, but still you'll be missing something. So, how can we ensure this effective communication here?
Yeah, so I would share one great tip which I got when I was 24 before I moved, to other country. It was my first, let's say, international experience. One man, businessman, he told me like, remember, knowing language is one thing, but you need to be open to start seeing and understanding the cultural codes. And why I'm saying this, because yeah, language is important. So in certain countries, this is what we discussed already. It's way easier to business when you are like others, like other people. So you speak the same language, you have common understanding. Through language, you also behave in certain way, right? So uh, that's why it's one thing which is extremely important. And when you brought this example of Algeria, I remember when in the company where I was working, my colleague decided that, oh, maybe let's establish some connection in Algeria, and he went there, and he was surprised that nobody wanted to do business in English with him, and I was like, surprise, surprise. So a lot of times with companies, they with in Poland, you have this kind of programs. I don't know how to call it, from each region, that you can go abroad as a like investing parts, that you partnership things and so on. So they're going there, and they are thinking that if they talk with certain people, oh, we have business. They told us like, yeah, we are interested in. Not really. Sometimes it's just politeness, and we need to know where this might happen. So that's why what answering to your question is what we can do or how we can communicate. We need to understand exactly these cultural codes. That if we go to Germany, if we say we are interested in, it means we are interested in. If we go to Asia, if we go to, I don't know, India, Middle East, and so on, even in Portugal, Italy, this is what we discussed, Latin America. A lot of time when you heard, yes, I'm interested in, it might not mean that I'm really interested in. If somebody say yes, it doesn't mean yes. It might just be conditional yes. So, first thing it's observe and gaining knowledge about certain culture. So of course you don't need to be expert and you don't need to know everything because it's impossible. But as well, it's to have ability to be open to trying to read the air. This is how it's called, reading between lines, how we say in Polish. It's much more as well, not only taking what it said, but also how people behave. Knowing that this relationship aspect is extremely important, and even not being afraid of asking somebody for help and so on. So this is what you said. We was talking about hiring some people. What I'm mostly, doing with my clients, it's also to building this ability to observe, to see more, to more consciously see these things. Of course, knowledge, I transfer knowledge, but we need to remember that we have other person, in front of us. So me or any other person want to give you, instruction like this is how you need to behave and you will be successful. It will be amazing. I would love to get this. But what if on the other side, it's a person who is completely behaving opposite to this generalization, how we perceive Poles, how we perceive Germans, Indonesians, and so on. So that's why there's not a really good way. I would say that being conscious, this is what we also discussed last time, that if somebody asks how are you, it's sometimes politeness, right? It's that you're smiling and smiling back. People like people who are similar to them. So that's why we don't need to know this. We can also observe and apply this. So if we see that somebody in front of us is more smiling, okay, add this smile. If it's less, you also can be more reserved. And of course, it's not about just losing who you are and just trying to be like other person. It's much more just checking what we can do, what we can add to our bucket of tools to be more successful in business. So I would say this, and as well being aware, in the language communication part, that we understand words differently. This is what we mentioned already before. What is a deadline, right? When we agree on this, who is responsible for what? So there's a lot of aspects which might be influencing this communication style, but definitely be less talking, more observing. This is what Asians are doing. That's why they love to have long meetings as well, Arabs. But mostly in Asia, you can observe this, that they don't talk that much. There's more space for silence because they observe. And then they, have some conclusions.
Yeah.
And we love to talk.
Especially me.
Me too. So it's, it's not that I'm saying like, I'm also learning this, this is something what I learned in Asia. Give space, listen. And I'm colorful person. I love to talk, is what you said. But sometimes just, be quiet and listen. This is what, people from our country, I would say, will gain way, way more in business. Just listen. We don't need to show everything, how our products are amazing. They are good. Just also see who you have on the other side, what kind of person. And, I would say that it's amazing experience, which you mentioned. This is exactly what is happening to people, when we also bring different values or different behaviors. And I would say that, something what I try to do as well in business, in private life, to bring more Latin vibe. So, this a lot of most of my friends are Brazilians. So, I learn as well to be more, let's say, open, chatty, and so on. And, even last weekend, I went for a business meeting and I thought like, oh, I might be too much because I had this, American approach, like, hey, how are you? What's going on? And then everybody were like quite chill. And I'm like, okay. But then, I know that if you come and you bring certain values, which, let's say, are not present or people are shy to express them, I see only great things. So, bringing, as you said, this is very soft. So we need to look at ourselves. So I always like to add this, even when I'm running workshops. So I like to have more colorful clothes, bring in some music and so on, because we will learn that when you study or learning something, you need to be very serious, focus, and make notes. We don't trust ourselves. Like, give me solutions. I was like, there's no solutions. This is other human being in front of you. So that's why I'm saying this. Of course, when we talk about, cultural aspects of doing business in the sense, which rules, which laws, and so on, you need to follow. Yeah, then it's easier. So I would say that each of us could take something, for trips, from working with other people. And it doesn't need to be different culture itself, like nationality. This is what we discussed, that we are from different regions even. So we also can learn something from each other, right? In Poznan, for example, I see this. We are more, like straight and I would say like, just don't go out of certain way of talking and so on. So they are more reserved. People are more reserved. So I would say taking something what it's ours, what we like, and just add it to our business, and let's see what's gonna happen. I like to always say people like just try. You like be more smiley, just try. Of course you need to look on what you can lose, in the sense if you will share some challenging topics, let's say, but if it's some small thing, just try and see what's going to happen. Maybe people will like it, and this is what you said, maybe it makes people closer, or if not, they will think for a few minutes.
What are you doing? And they're gonna comment on that, and eventually you're gonna know for sure that they do not like it, and that's it. But they're going to forget that. So
yeah, exactly. And I'm always saying, unfortunately, we are not, superstars, so nobody will write about this, in all media and so on. So let's try an experiment, just taking fun of living, doing business, of working, collaborating in the office.
Yeah, Highlanders are like volume plus 10. So if you if you're commenting on people from what Poznan was that? So yeah, Highlanders are a little bit more. They're louder. Yeah, I mean I'm louder definitely. So it is also quite important to notice that, and then maybe readjust the volume of your voice.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's definitely to look, what is happening around us, and if we are, so yeah, exactly. If somebody will say something or not, we can see what is the reaction. So just having fun of this, just differences and similarities. I would say, that everything what we discussed today and as well in our previous conversation, I would like that those of you who are listening us, that you take this as some kind of guidance, or showing that it can be different for different people, and it's like invitation for all of you to just try to see who you have next to you, and even talking about our regional diversity. It's amazing. It's so opening, and we say that we don't know how to do small talk. This is a small talk, saying like, hey, I heard this, is it true? No, I have different.
Do you think companies can measure it somehow? Does, let's say,